Welcome to the CXDS podcast series powered by Fortinus Events. This is the global stage where CX, omnichannel, loyalty, and retention leaders unite to shape the future of customer experience. Join the conversation as CX pioneers and experts share bold strategies shaping the world of CX forward.
Hi and hello, welcome to the Fortinus Events Global Podcast Series, where we bring together industry leaders who are shaping the future of customer experience, digital innovation, and business transformation across industries. I'm your host, Rashika, and today we are joined by a CX leader who is driving strategy and innovation across the Asia Pacific and Japan region. In today's episode, Orchestrating Experience Excellence, we are speaking with LW Teoh, Head of Commercial Operations and Strategy APAC at Genesys. So, Luis, it's a pleasure to have with you with us today. To start, could you please introduce yourself to our listeners?
Sure. Hi everyone out there. I lead commercial operations here in APAC, and essentially I have the privilege of sitting between product management and the field. So I do have a pulse on the sense of where our clients and markets are thinking about and where our businesses are focusing their attention on.
Okay. Thank you so much, Luis, for the brief introduction. Now let's jump into the conversation. Okay,
Sure.
Luis, first thing first. Customer expectations are evolving rapidly. So, from your perspective, how has customer experience changed in recent years, and what are organizations doing differently today to stay competitive?
Right. I think this is an excellent question. And when I think of this question, I think about how's customer expectations and journey design evolving, right? So at Genesys, and maybe if you don't mind, just a quick introduction of Genesys. So Genesys is a global leader in AI-powered experience orchestration. It is trusted by thousands of organizations all around the world. So essentially, Genesys puts AI at the heart of how businesses would connect with their customers, their employees, to make every interaction smarter, more intelligent, faster, and yet more empathetic, right, at scale. So when we think about how customer experience has evolved, I would say that customers today fundamentally is comparing your organization to the best experiences that they've ever had, right? They, think about them booking a flight on their favorite airlines. Think about them experiencing the ease of transacting on their favorite payment gateways. So the bar just keeps rising, and AI is accelerating it faster than what most organizations are realizing, and they're really trying hard to keep up with it. So what's changing is the shift from reactive service to proactive, predictive engagement. So customers expect you to know them, to remember them, and oftentimes to act on their behalf before they even have to ask for it, right? So, and that's the last part about acting on their behalf is where things gets really interesting. See, we're moving into an era of agentic AI where AI doesn't just answer questions, it takes action. And at Genesys, we've just launched the industry's first agentic virtual agent that's powered by large action models. So it doesn't just, participate in conversations, but behind the scenes, it reasons, it plans, and it executes outcomes across your enterprise systems autonomously. So organizations with those capabilities now have to think about redesigning journeys around their customers, placing people and AI at the center of it together, right? I think I see an enormous competitive edge and advantage for organizations that are able to zero in and then to start working on this early.
Okay, thank you, Luis, for that. Such an interesting response to the question, so that we know the world is evolving, so does the AI now. So we just need to keep up with the current trends. Okay.
Indeed, yeah.
Yes. Okay, Luis, second question. So now AI is playing a major role in CX transformation. Now, how is Genesys helping organizations leverage AI to orchestrate more intelligent and proactive customer journeys?
I would say that a lot of companies, a lot of organizations that we spoke with, and I'll take the example of chatbots, right? So a lot of organizations got enamored really early with chatbots. While they were excellent FAQ engines, they took a very guided approach, and it didn't take very long for customers and their end customers to realize that there needs to be deeper intelligence. There needs to be more ability to act. So what's fundamentally different now is that the combination of large language models for conversation quality and large action models for execution. So at Genesys, it allows us to embed such capabilities rather seamlessly into virtual agents that would allow you to design and handle complex multi-step customer requests, right? So fundamentally, besides the conversation, it also acts and veers towards fulfillment even, right? So it cuts across both front and back office systems autonomously and reliably by design. And it's something that we believe organizations are really sitting up and paying attention to. But I think one of the things that I want to point out is that a lot of the capabilities that this enables allows AI to be operationalized, right? So it allows AI to handle transactional volume at scale. So what happens, therefore, is that your agents can now handle the moments that matter. So I think the ability to combine these two capabilities and getting them to work together as one is essentially how we can better solve, and improve customer outcomes as well as employee fulfillment, at the same time. And I think this goes a long way into organizations differentiating themselves in their various markets and industries.
I understand. All right. Thank you, Luis, for the response. So, all right, Luis, moving on to the third question. Right now, with increasing automation, how can organizations strike the right balance between efficiency and maintaining a human touch in customer interactions?
Wow, this is a really interesting question. And when I think about this, I take a step back and I'm based in APAC and more specifically within the Southeast Asia region. So when I think of what I see in terms of CX trends in Southeast Asia, I believe it is important to place it in the context of where the organization's businesses are run. So Southeast Asia, I would consider it to be genuinely one of the most exciting regions in the world right now, not just for CX, right? And part of the reason is that when we look beyond the lens of CX, we think about how the economies here have got capital flowing in, right, at unprecedented pace. So we've got also a very young digitally native population by and large, and also a very innovative ecosystem that is moving with real energy and ambition. So what makes, therefore, such a region distinctive is essentially the coexistence of two, I would say, very different realities. Right. On the one hand, you will have digitally native organizations that's put together and offering super apps, fintechs, e-commerce platforms, essentially those that are born without any legacy constraints. And those are already operating at the frontier of AI-driven engagement. Now, on the other hand, you have large traditional enterprises. By that, I'm thinking banks, telcos, insurers, government-linked organizations. Now, these organizations are moving really quickly. They are transforming their business. They've got what I sometimes refer to as technical debt. They've also got business processes that has to be pivoted, right? So what I'm really glad to report is that I'm seeing a lot of them embracing this transformation with remarkable speed and conviction. They do know for a fact that this is the direction that they want to be. Now, both of these different personas of the market are both, Genesys customers. We've got customers on both sides. And what's really exciting for us is that we see the investment flowing into the region, creating a very unique opportunity to leapfrog. So organizations that recognize this early and continues to build on the best practices and learnings from mature markets, perhaps, while moving in a very agile way, I think is gonna be representative, I think, of what Southeast Asia is known for, broadly speaking. So I'll highlight maybe three key areas, just kind of reframing your question a little bit, right? So essentially, I noticed three broad trends. So essentially, the first is around agentic AI. It is arriving a lot faster than what many people expect. So our research shows that 1 in every 2 CX leaders in Asia are already planning on agentic AI investments in the next 12 to 18 months. So that's sort of the first realization, right? The second, and just following up very quickly on the first, on the tailcoats of the first, is that therefore trust in agentic AI and data sovereignty are starting to again become boardroom discussions, right? And not just a technology side of the house type discussion. And it's exactly why we've invested in a full Genesys cloud region in Singapore. Genesys continues to invest in this part of the world, and we are starting to see this pay dividends because we are better able to support our customers in terms of the work that they want to do here. Now, last but not the least, I would say workforce transformation. That's something that I'm hearing personally from a lot of business leaders about the need to rescale people to work alongside AI. And I think this is going to be one outcome and capability that will separate organizations in a leadership position from everyone else. And I would say that organizations that would win in this region at this time will not just be the ones with the biggest technology budgets. They will be essentially the ones that are most innovative and start putting in a focus on building trust with their customers and bring their people on the journey. A long-winded answer to your question, I know, but I hope it touches on some of the key points.
I understand. So I could conclude that the key now is transformation. So
That is correct.
everything needs transformation, and the willing to transform into, the super things that are happening right now.
That is correct. Absolutely. And transformation could mean many different things for many different people. There was a time where so I have a background in computer science, and there was a time where analytics was the big thing, right? So every other conference that you go to, you have a topic about analytics, and soon it was big analytics, big data analytics, because big data became available, where compute and storage became more accessible to a lot of individuals and organizations. So that evolution very quickly led into machine learning and AI. And a lot of that foundation, all the way through to data management, which powers all of these, are still incredibly relevant. So what is different now is that for a lot of younger organizations that's just kind of came to the market, a lot of young organizations that are 10 years or less, for example, they were able to directly leapfrog and go into a highly mature environment of both talent and technology to apply to their business, whatever the brilliant ideas that they may have, and very quickly be able to test their ideas and to make sure that they are putting and placing their money in the right place. So there's there are two sides to the coin. So the benefit to that, and I think essentially the rising tide raises all boats, right? So I believe that this acceleration has provided in itself an equalizer. There was a time where technology is a privilege of larger organizations with deeper pockets, right? And a number of small, medium-sized organizations might not be able to see themselves benefiting from some of these. But now, with the accessibility and the advance of technologies and AI being very prevalent these days and highly accessible, I see this as an equalizer and an opportunity, a great opportunity for organizations to really achieve their vision and really compete in this space. Now, the other side of the coin is it becomes an environment that moves very rapidly. So for organizations that has the benefit of growing over the many years, are finding themselves having to be way more nimble to stay competitive with a lot of organizations these days. And I think from what I see, a lot of those organizations across our global markets and especially those that I've been speaking with here in Asia are really embracing this. It's not an easy change when it comes to transformation, because a lot of organizations want to see an outcome. They're really pressured to see an outcome for every unit of effort and dollar that they spend on transformation work. So we believe that the time is now for CX to be able to come to the table and offer real value to organizations that they can and should invest in CX and see it as part of an integral part, really, of the transformation of their organization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very well, Luis. That's a very impressive response to this. So, Luis, we shall move on to the next question. So
Sure.
now, how can organizations measure the real business impact of CX beyond traditional metrics like satisfaction scores?
Right. Now, this is a really interesting conversation, and let me just pivot slightly to our partnerships with some of our valued partners around the world and in the regions. So at Genesys, our technologies are recognized to not be a standalone, because oftentimes when we think about how organizations are looking to embed CX within their ecosystem, it involves knowledge, it involves people, and implementation skills that they would sometimes reach out into some of the global system integrators, and a number of them are our partners, are very loyal partners of ours. They're able to help them achieve that. Now, when we think about that, sometimes as the market, as the way things are done is changed and disrupted by AI, some of those traditional metrics that you talked about, for example, they're still gonna be relevant, but perhaps less relevant, depending on how we look at it. I'm starting to see customers thinking about and talking about outcomes, right? They are looking to, they're willing to pay for a better outcome for their customers, to the benefit of their customers and for the benefit of their organization. And those outcomes, those better outcomes that they're striving for, sometimes are not directly measurable by the traditional matrix that we talked about. So one of the things that we do often is we found that organizations at this point in time hasn't quite landed on a singular way, or a highly templatized way of doing it. So what we have found and what we're offering as well to our customers is what we refer to as our business advisory work, that we are working together with our customers, our clients, to better understand what what an enhanced outcome looks like for their organization, right? So it's a study that involves deeply understanding how organizations are baselining and measuring their their matrix today, and at the same time surfacing for them what might be prevalent for them or emerging for them that they haven't quite have a measurement capability in place. We're seeing how organizations are engaging with our business value and business advisory specialists, because what we've realized is that the concept of measuring outcomes, the concept of measuring and engineering value, um, fundamentally is different from industry to industry. So what we found is that organizations greatly value some of our business value consultants, uh, sitting with them to better understand where things are, what's percolating in their industry, and to provoke some of the design of how they would measure success. You cannot improve something you are not measuring. Is essentially the basis of that. And so what I do expect us to see is that as agentic continues to power through, we will start to see outcomes measured that is going to be a lot closer to the bottom line of an organization. You're going to be able to better attribute and correlate every dollar of investment, uh, and equating it back to whether it is uplifting your business or not. In the past, there was a time where a dollar spent on customer experience, a dollar spent on relationship management might not be the easiest thing for organizations to attribute and to continue investing in, right? So my belief is that because how agentic and how AI is now able to very quickly connect the dots, it would allow organizations to do this a lot better. So it is a space that is evolving very quickly right now. So it's something that I think you and I would have to pay real close attention to.
Yes, yes, I'm sure we all do. All right. Thank you, Luis. All right. So Luis, last question.
Sure.
Last but not least, okay? So looking ahead, what key trends do you believe that will shape the future of customer experience over the next few years?
Right. I would say that over the next couple of years, you'll an organization, right, is going to find that their markets, especially in a B2C context, they're
Mm,
going to find that their consumers, their customers, uh, are going to be, as an individual, highly savvy, highly knowledgeable on AI,
mm,
as an individual, as a
right,
consumer, right?
right.
Now, what that does is it really accelerates and it reframes the whole expectation about what uh, companies and organizations that they deal with can do or should do with
Mm,
their data, with their information, and it really raises the expectation of kind of the quality of interaction that they should expect from an organization that they're dealing with. So over the next couple of years, my expectation is that a lot of organizations that's on that journey are going to have to re-engineer re-engineer the concepts around what their business model is, built upon a fresh set of guardrails and governance standards to manage this new paradigm and new reality of them operating in. And they've also got to take a really concerted effort into the people side of the house as well, right? Where are they putting the talent? How are they skilling and equipping their people to take the fullest advantage of what's available today? Now, what that does is it creates an opportunity, therefore, for organizations to be highly creative and to design towards an experience and an outcome that no one is at a disadvantage, right? In an idealistic world, you now have organizations with the access to talent pools of people that are increasingly going to get better
Mm-hmm.
at AI, at working with data, as well as being able to even augment their workforce using agentic AI. Um, that's going to allow uh, organizations to, that are investing in time and people in this to be way more competitive, right? Um, I would say that the beauty of this all is that a lot of the business processes, a lot of the fundamental concepts that you know has evolved over the years with regards to data and how analytics has been the foundation of some of these things are not going to go away. Now, the other thing that I think is going to be really exciting is the ancillary organizations that work together to support um, um, these advances, right? So I'm thinking about engineering organizations and engineers that work in power. I'm thinking about engineers and software engineers that has put together those infrastructures that allow us to power all of these smarts today. So I see a major evolution in that space, and it also helps to bring up a lot of these associated industry verticals as well.
Mm. Okay. So, Luis, you're saying that in the next couple of years, people will be more well versed in AI, and that we would do so many things that is beyond what we can think of right now, and that's very impressive.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think this is already front and center
Mm.
of most boardroom conversations. Um, and the onus and the responsibility at this time, the pressure is on business leaders in
Mm.
terms of how are they going to navigate their organizations through this, I would say, a sea of opportunity.
Mm. Understand. Okay. So thank you so much, Luis, for today's session and for your insights. So we really appreciate your time today and for your support for the event. And to our listeners, we are excited to share that Luis Teo will be joining us as a speaker at the CX Global Summit Indonesia 2026, our second annual this year. So Luis will be representing our co-sponsor Genesys. So don't forget to drop by their booth and connect with Genesys team to explore their solutions. So Luis, do you have anything else to say to our listeners?
Now, I'm really looking forward to the summit, and I look forward to a time of sharing and learning together. So
Mhm.
I look forward to seeing you there.
Okay, very well. Thank you so much, Luis, again for today. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to the Fortinus Events Global Podcast Series. And We'll see you at the event, and thank you so much. Thank you so much, Luis. Take care.
Thank you.